Hi. You might notice my headphones in today. I feel like the sound quality is a little bit better when I have this in, so we're gonna try that out. I'm not sure what the title of this video is going to be called yet, but I really wanted to make a video concerning the upcoming events next week at the inauguration. I see a lot of worry. What prompted this video is a video was sent to me about a man who was very adamant that this weekend we are going to have a massive power grid failure, and then behind the scenes of that, some pretty scary things are going to happen. And I want to make it clear that we don't know the future, and that really could happen, right? I mean, that's why we do this. That's why I do this channel, is because genuinely, our worlds can change at a moment's notice that drastically. It could. But I also see a lot of fear and a lot of doubt, a lot of anxiety about what's going to happen next week. So I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on this. And some things that you can do, some practical things that you can do right now without really spending any money or like panicking and going out and buying a whole bunch of stuff. I know in some areas the shelves are very bare. So I wanted to share my thoughts, and then I wanted to share some practical things that you can do. So my first thought when I heard that is, I've heard this before. I've heard this a lot. In fact, I've heard people say things like, this is the end, or this is going to be it. As somebody who prepares for unprecedented times, we are for sure there. We've been there for almost a year. We are in, the SHTF. We're living it right now. And like every other time in history when unprecedented things have happened, the very, very, very bad situations are often localized. They're often in one area or in several areas, but not everywhere all at once. That's what we're experiencing. We are experiencing a lot of chaos and a lot of strife that's for sure affecting our lives, often in a negative way. And that's really happening. And it's still localized. We're seeing things on our screens that are very, very hard, and it's still there and not here. For many of us, not for everybody. I know there are some people right in the thick of it, and that can be even scarier, but the chances of it coming even into your home are less likely. And that's not to dismiss the importance of being away from the cities if you can, or of being able to protect yourself, or of having stores. That's not negating that. It's only to bring comfort that genuinely the chance of something happening at our capital and then for you to be directly harmed by it is low. So if that's a huge fear for you, just take heart that those chances are low. And that's why we prepare, is so that if the very, very, very low risk happens, then we can take care of it. So I hope that could bring a little bit of comfort to you in these hard times. The next thing I want to do is give you a couple of tips on what you can do right now, again, without spending a lot of money. I've seen other channels and they're amazing, way more advanced than us and what we do, for sure. So I think it's really good idea to listen to them. A few that come to mind if you want to venture out. I'm gonna mess up his name and I'm sorry, but it's Yamaasa Ranch, I believe. He goes really in depth. He has lots of really good, and no one knows that I'm doing this, like no one's paying me for this or anything. I just really, these are places that I found a lot of knowledge. But he does a lot. Most of his content has a lot of references, so you can look back. The next one is Bear Independent. He is somebody that has a really practical look. You know, you really don't see him saying things like, go out and buy every survival food that you can. You know, it's beans and rice and oats and lentils and some really, really good, strong, hearty stuff. So he's a good resource. And then another good resource is Viking preparedness. Those are the three that I listen to on YouTube a lot. And the reason for that, particularly Viking preparedness, is he has a lot of experience. I'm not exactly sure exactly what he did in previous times, but I know that sorry, there might be a little skip in there. I had to pause the video. But he has a lot of background. I believe the job that he used to do dealt with going into countries that are having similar political issues as we are now. So he has a lot of, like, it seems like a plethora of knowledge of what we can do as individuals, even though we can't really help the political problems that are like way up here, what we can do as individuals to kind of make it through that political strife. So those three are really great. If I can, I will link them down below so that you can go to their pages as well. And like I said, I'm not in connection with them at all. I just have been able to get a lot of good resources from them. So, so the three things that you can do that will hopefully give you some peace. And it doesn't really cost anything. The first one is to take account of what you have. Go through each room of your house, particularly your pantry, your kitchen, and your bathroom, because functioning life, for the most part, I know this is weird, but everyday survival happens in those two rooms, or those three areas of your house, in the pantry, in the kitchen, and in the bathroom. You gotta get up, you gotta take a shower, you gotta do your business, you gotta cook meals, and you have to wash and clean. And that's what happens in those areas of your house. So go through those areas and just make a list of everything that you have and find where those holes are. If you're in an area that has well-stocked shelves, go and fill in those holes by all means. Like, go do that. If you notice that you only have one thing of deodorant left and it's almost gone, go get 3 or 4 of them if you're able to. That would be a really good place to start. But take account of what you have too and see what you could do from it. So we do this a lot when we're like really low on refrigerator food. We'll go through it and make as many meals in a meal plan as we possibly can and see how many days that'll last us. And then we can know, okay, do we have to go shopping on this day, or can we make things stretch? And you can do the same thing in your kitchen and in your bathroom and in your pantry. Go and see how long you can make this stuff stretch. That might give you a really good sense of peace and understanding of, you know, maybe how well you're doing. Places like All Recipes and things like that are really good for that. All natural websites are also really good because you can find recipes for things like deodorant and laundry detergent. You probably have some of those things around in your house. So you might be able to even make some things that you're running low of out of what you already have. Get creative and get really frugal. Like all those Facebook ads you see for the penny pincher mom or something, use that right now. Do it. It doesn't, even if you don't use it on a regular basis, use it now. The next thing is to make a plan for leaving your house. We never want to think that our home will become unsafe. It is a gross violation when our home or even our vehicles are unsafe. I remember when I was just moved out of my parents' house, I was still like a late teenager, and my car was broken into. I didn't sleep well for like a week. They didn't even come into my house, but I felt violated. And so the idea of something that we have being or something that we dwell in often being unsafe is a really, really horrible thought. And it's also sometimes a reality that where we live might be unsafe. So you can make a plan for leaving and what that would look like. Where are you going? How are you going to get there? If it's going to take a long time to get there, what are you going to do in between? Are you going to go stay at a hotel? Do you have money for that? What can you pack? Do you have medications? Things like that. What I actually do is I plan for a vacation. So I think of two things. What would I pack on vacation? And what would I pack to go backpacking, like hiking? And then I put both of those things into one bag. So if I was going to go on vacation, I would have stuff like toiletries, and I would have clothes, and I would have phone chargers, and I would have all of those kinds of things so that if I was in a hotel, like I don't have to go out and buy stuff, right? Because it's expensive. Like stuff's expensive. I would probably have granola bars, food, things like that. If I were going camping or backpacking, I would have a small stove, or I would have, you know, those little metal containers that you can like cook food in. I might have some ready to eat meals. I might have this little packages of rice or something that I can just heat up. And those are also really productive. If you have to go stay at a hotel because your house is or your area is not that safe, maybe a lot of other people are going to think that too. And you might have a hard time getting into one, or you might have a hard time ordering food or anything like that, or might be running out of money to do that. So having some even just extra snacks and extra food in a bag with all of your other vacation stuff is really, really helpful. Just set it by the door. And then if in a couple days you don't have to use it, then that's okay. And it's not a big deal. And you just unpack it and maybe eat the granola bars. Because why not? And then the third thing that you can do is really, really stay connected with friends, family, and most importantly, with God. I don't very often talk about faith on this channel, not because it's not a super integral part of my life, but because I really want this to be a platform where anybody can feel comfortable. And while it's my intention to share the amazing news of the gospel, and I will do that fervently and happily, and to anybody who can hear, anyone who will listen to me, I want every person to have the knowledge of preparedness. So if you've not heard me talk about this very often before, that's why. The thing is, though, is that the Holy Ghost gives you something really, really, really specific, and that is promptings and guidance. This doesn't look like, coming down on a ray of sunshine from the heavens and telling you that an angry mob's headed towards your house and you gotta bug out. It doesn't look like that. What it does look like, though, are those little gut feelings, those little things that you feel an instant of peace and then you have a thought right after, So you feel that instant of peace and then you have the thought, go fill up your car tonight. And so you do. And then the next morning you get stuck in traffic and you realize, if I wouldn't have filled my car up last night, I'd run out of gas in the middle of the highway. It's little things like that. And in an emergency situation, or even in what we're experiencing now where it's just a lot of strife, those little moments of peace and then those little thoughts that come after, those promptings, are really, really important. That still small voice is really, really important. And so I encourage all of you to make that a priority. Those little promptings a priority, because those add up a little bit at a time, to where then when you're in a situation, if you're in a situation where chaos is abundant, you can feel that peace and you can have the assurance that you're safe, you're going to be okay. And then keeping in touch with family and friends does the same thing. If your friend or your family member is across the country and you are really scared about what they're going through, pick up the phone. Just give them a call. Send them a text, Facebook message. I know that some carriers have had some issues with broadband or bandwidth issues and things like that. But send them a message or an email even and say, hey, you're on my heart and I'm really thinking about you and I just want to make sure you're safe. I don't know of any person that would receive something like that in my life, at least, and be like, how could you check on me? They're going to be receptive, I think. But that will give you assurance that even your loved ones are not, experiencing any of these things that you don't want to experience yourself. it is hard. And I know there's a lot of people who've done this for a long time. We're going on, 3 or 4 years that might be saying I told you so right now. Might be laughing, might be not very kind-hearted. And I hope that you still take their message of preparedness seriously, because even though their response is not Christ-like, it doesn't mean that their knowledge isn't inspired of Christ. We all have un-Christ-like moments. And so I encourage you that if you are having those gut feelings, to get prepared, not just for next week, but for anything that can happen this year. It's going to be another hard year. I mean, it just is. We're going to have strife. If you are having those promptings, don't let people stop you from that. Don't let someone who is saying, well, you should have done this sooner, stop you from doing it right now, because it's still important. The very last thought that I'm going to leave you with is take help and give it too. If you are in a position where you need help and somebody is offering it freely, take it. That's okay. And if you're in a position where somebody needs help and you could give it freely, do that too. That is not a popular opinion, I think, in the prepper community. They believe, many people in the prepping community believe that you should not need help because you're taking care of yourself, and that if somebody else needs help, you shouldn't help them because they could deplete your resources. And if I've learned anything over the past several weeks, it's that we all need help sometimes. And I found that the people who say that most adamantly are people who needed the help and unfortunately weren't offered it by kind people, which is sad. But those people are most often the ones that I hear say things like that. I know that for me and my family, had we not been offered and then accepted help that we have received, then we would not be as okay as we are right now. So take help if you need it. Don't feel guilty if it's given freely. And if you are in a position where you can give help, consider doing it. Because if you were on the other end and needed it, you would want somebody to offer. Well, I hope some of that gave you guys peace, and I hope that through the next week, you just are able to get through it with a peaceful heart and a wise mind. All right, well, hopefully I'll do another video soon. Bye.